With me today, I have a brand new Toyota Camry XSE. Now, traditionally in the past, people bought Camrys for comfort, reliability, fuel economy, but no one ever said they bought a Camry for its looks until now. Take a look at the current generation that was redesigned back in 2018. It looks modern, it looks sleek, it looks nothing like the previous generations. So in this review, I'm going to show you the ins and outs, also go for a drive, and finally conclude with good and the bad so you guys could decide if this is the right car for you. Stay tuned. A quick thanks to Oakbrook Toyota in Westmont, which made this video possible. If you are in the market for a brand new or used Toyota, definitely check out their dealership. Their URL is in the description below. So starting from the front end, honestly, does this look like any Camry you've seen on the road previously? I mean, this is ultra modern and it's very sporty and I love it. Now, this look is specific to the sport editions, the SE trim and the XSE, which is what this is. And you do get a different bumper design and grille design, and I think this is the one to get. Now, starting with the headlights, everything in here LED, projector headlights, daytime running lights, turn signal, everything is LED, and this flows into this grille, right? This black grille that kind of cuts into the lower bumper, and I love that look. It just looks really good. Now, one thing you may have noticed is there's no fog lights, nothing here. And that's weird because there's no trim for the Camry that actually have fog lights. Toyota decided to just ditch it. Now, what else is there? You do see some sensors over here, and you see a camera here, and that is for the 360 bird's eye system. That is an option, and this one is equipped with. But other than that, this front end is just modern and sporty, and I really love it. Moving on to the side, take a look. Is this a Camry or sports sedan? Well, these days it's one and the same because this is what the new Camry looks like. It's amazing. It sits low to the ground. It has a really nice stance. The roof has been lowered, and of course you notice the contrast, the black roof and the white body color. So this is specific to the XSE. You can choose a black roof with various body colors, and it just makes the Camry pop like a sports sedan. And what completes the look are these 19-inch alloy wheels, very specific to the XSE, and have a black machine finish. And overall, the side view of this Camry just looks good. So moving on to the rear, this completes the sports sedan look. Starting with this deck lid spoiler, this little spoiler, it is black, it just makes the car pop. And same with the taillights. These are a combination of LED and incandescent, so not full LED, but on the side here you can see kind of like teardrop grills on the side, and this kind of reminds me of a LC500 from Lexus, so I think that's where the inspiration came from. And the bottom bumper, you can see a couple sensors, also quad exhaust tip, not a single one. So overall, this is what a rear end of a sports sedan should look like. Now moving on to the rear trunk, as you can see, it's a fairly sizable trunk. You can put a good amount back here. There's no nets or cubby holes or anything like that, so for storage, you're gonna have to figure it out. Now underneath here, you do have, it's kind of hard to open, but underneath here, you got some tools and a spare tire. The seat backs are over there, which can fold down, and you pull the lever here, but just make note that this crossbar over here actually does come down quite a bit, so whatever you're putting can't be too tall. Now moving on to the rear, what you'll notice right away is this beautiful looking red leather. Not only do they pop out, but they also have a really beautiful design and they feel great, and it completes that sports sedan look. So I love this. But what's surprising is in terms of space, you do get a good amount of leg room. So I'm 5'10", you know, a good 4 or 5 inches left. But what's surprising is the headroom. Now I do feel like sitting here that the roof is really low. I do feel like my head is going to hit, and those of you guys on the taller side will probably hit your head, and that's because Toyota did lower the roof height, and you can't adjust the seat down in the back. So I do feel like if you're on the taller side, this is going to be an issue for you. In terms of width, that's not going to be a problem. It's pretty wide. Now, what else is surprising is a lack of ports. Now, behind or underneath these vents, usually there's a couple of ports, right? A USB port or two, or maybe a 12V outlet. But there's nothing here. Nothing here. That's really surprising. This day and age, all the kids want to plug in, and unfortunately they can't. Now, what else? Pair of cup holders, one in each door and also in the center armrest. And that's pretty much it back here. This is what the front seat looks like, and it has that beautiful look just like the rear. I love this look, and it feels great too. But moving on to the door panel, you can see the contrast between the black, aluminum, and red is still there. And you move to the dash, same thing. And then you have this very huge infotainment system right here with JBL speakers as an option with Intune 3.0. And take a look at this center console here, and the gauge cluster and the steering wheel. Overall, this is a very sporty interior. It has that sport sedan vibe, and it just carries throughout the cabin. Now let's talk about this infotainment system, and it's combined with the climate control. This is all very integrated. It looks really cool. This is an 8-inch screen. It is touch combined with buttons. Unfortunately, the touch is slow. So take a look. You see how it takes about a second, you know? So that's why there's plenty of buttons for you guys to use that's much, much quicker. Now the resolution does look great. In terms of apps, it does have Apple CarPlay for 2019 and 2020, the Android Auto. Now down here, you can see the climate controls integrated. Now down here, you do get one USB port, and unfortunately, you don't get any in the rear. You get a 12V outlet, and this is equipped with the wireless charging for your phone, which is optional. So you could just put your phone here. That's really cool. Now, moving on, you got a couple of big cup holders. You do have a normal shifter. Thank God it's not redesigned. This just works, right? And over here, you got a couple of modes. You could go into eco mode, normal mode, sport mode, and you got heated seats over here. And this is for electronic parking. Now, let me show you. If you put into reverse, you can see the bird's eye view. This is optional, but it's really, really convenient. You can see all around your car, and of course you can see behind you. And you can change the view, right? So you can get a bigger view or a wider angle view. It just depends on what you're looking for. And of course you got grid lines in both views, so that's really nice. So moving on to this doesn't slide. The center armrest doesn't slide. There isn't multiple layers or anything fancy. You just open it up and you get a whole bunch of space there and 2 USB ports. Now moving on to the steering wheel, this is like all the other Toyotas, pretty standard, although it has a modern look. But you can control a lot of the things with cruise control, especially the intelligent cruise control over here. And you could do mode for your radio or whatever you're playing. Over here, this is for the phone and the menu. And let's take a look. There's a lot of things in the menu. Fuel economy, your trip computer. This is for driving support to stay within the lanes. Music. This is actually really cool. Not only can you slide it, take a look what the PCI is, the TPMS system. It'll tell you if your tires are low. But take a look at this. Everything that's part of Toyota Sense 2.0, all the safety features, it'll tell you if it's ready. For example, pre-collision, that's basically auto braking, parking assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert. It'll tell you if all that's ready and if you need to change any of that. That's really cool. And of course, you got settings. There's a whole bunch of things in here, and I do love this user interface. It just looks very modern. Now over here, you could press this view. This gives you that 360 view, the bird's eye view, where you can see all around your car. That is really, really fancy. Yeah, that's really fancy, although that is an option. For the rest of the buttons, the trunk, this is for your fuel lid, traction control, and auto high beam. Now up here, you have some controls for your garage. You do have the Safety Connect SOS for Toyota. And up here, you do have a gorgeous and huge panoramic sunroof, which is always nice, and it just brightens the ride. All right, so now I'm behind the wheel. Let's see how this Camry behaves, because it certainly looks like a sports sedan, but does it drive like one? One thing that's not a surprise, and that is how smooth and comfortable this Camry is so far. I've mentioned before, previously, people bought Camrys for comfort, for reliability, fuel economy, spaciousness, how quiet it is, and none of that has changed. But this current generation just adds style and bling to it. But right now, first impression is it's very, very smooth, very quiet. I mean, very, very, very quiet. I don't hear anything, nothing. Of course, I'm not putting the foot down, so I don't really hear the engine much. But right now, it's just a really nice ride around the neighborhood. All right, so here's a bit of open road here. Okay, not bad. Actually, because I'm in normal mode, I did not try that in sport mode, but got up to 60 miles per hour pretty quick. Now, in terms of engine specs, this is a 3.5 liter V6 natural aspirated, no turbo. Now pushing over 300 horsepower, 301 horsepower to be exact. The torque is a little bit under 270 pound-feet of torque, a little bit underneath. And 0 to 60 is about 5.8 seconds. 5.8 in a mid-size sedan that's named Camry. So now that I'm up to speed, going about 45, 50 miles per hour, I hear a little road noise. That could be because of the 19-inch tires and the 19-inch wheels. So the sidewall's a little bit smaller. So I do feel, or I hear a bit more of road noise. But in terms of wind noise, it's still very quiet. I showed you guys this gorgeous infotainment screen, and surprisingly, even with the bright sunlight shining on it, it still comes through. It's nice and bright, so you don't have to worry about it, fading out when it's really bright. So that's really nice. There are paddle shifters, but they're kind of hidden behind the steering wheel. They pop out back here, but that's not where you press it. You press it behind the steering wheel, so kind of illusion there. Couple things. First, I put the shifter into manual shifting so I could test out these paddle shifters. And I enabled sport mode, which firms up the steering a little bit and also plays around with the throttle response, gives it more sporty drive. So I'm going to see how it is. The total package here in this Camry that looks like a sports sedan, can it behave like a sports sedan? We'll find out. Okay, that was much better. Second time around. Then manual shifting, and I just got up to 60 exactly, and definitely a fast moving car. The shifts were crisp using the paddle shifters. One very weird thing is when you put the Camry into manual shifting, it starts out in fourth. It doesn't go to one. It starts out in fourth, and it doesn't matter if you're stopped or you're moving. It'll just always start in fourth for whatever reason. So if you want to get that maximum, acceleration, you have to manually, make it go down to one for whatever reason. I don't know. All right. So what else is weird with this manual shifting is the fact that let's say you're in sixth gear and you're slowing down. Traditionally on autos with manual shifting or even dual clutch setups, it will downshift for you all the way to first gear. Now in this Camry, it kind of does its magic where it makes sure that your engine doesn't stall even though you're coming to a stop in say sixth gear or eighth gear. But when you start again, it doesn't start in first. It starts in the gear that you left it in. Kind of like if you were in the manual. So if you stopped at 8th gear and you're starting again, you're starting in 8th gear. You're not starting in 1. And that's really unusual, actually. So in terms of steering, I would say this is a good mix. Toyota's traditionally is a little bit lighter, but this one, I actually do feel good feedback. It's not very light, although it's not heavy by any means. It's right in the middle. So I do think that this XSE, especially in sport mode, actually feels pretty nice. It feels pretty nice. whenever you just put the foot down, I mean, there's so much power. There's so much power. This engine, this V6 engine in this XSE, this is the one to get. If you like spirited driving, you want a Camry for its practicality, its comfort, it's still there. But when you put your foot down, it's actually really, really fun. Now, in terms of brakes, it's predictable. It feels normal. It catches on when you expect it. No surprises. Now, in terms of visibility, it's pretty good from the front and the sides. Plenty of visibility. I will say because the back window slants pretty dramatically, it is pretty narrow in my opinion. Because of the sportiness, the profile from the outside, you could definitely notice it inside. I mean, you can see out of the back, but it's just pretty narrow. And also something I mentioned about in the back where you can adjust the seats like the front. In the front, I adjusted the seat down, so I do feel like I have plenty of headroom, especially with the cover open. Now in the back, I feel like you're sitting a little bit higher, so you do feel like the roof is much closer to your head. So there is a difference between the front and the back. Toyota now offers 12 different trims for the Camry. Now the base trims are L, LE, SE, TRD, XLE, and XSE. So in terms of the SE, there is a separate one called Nightshade Edition. That's where all the pieces are blackened out. That's by itself. Of course, you do see that there's hybrid mix in. Hybrid changes the drivetrain, so it's a bit better with fuel economy. Now the one I'm driving, XSE, and that one and the XLE are very similar. It's just that one is more luxury oriented, one is more sport oriented. And TRD, that is a brand new trim for 2020, step above the XSE in terms of sportiness. There's a different aero kit. The outside looks different. It's very radical. It has a huge wing, which may be a turnoff for some, but I'm looking forward to reviewing that one once it's available. The one I'm driving right now, this XSE, is pretty much fully loaded with everything. Panoramic sunroof, the upgraded infotainment system, the wireless charger, the special painted black roof, all this. It's coming in right under $40,000, around $39,000. And in terms of safety features, Toyota pretty much puts Toyota Safety Sense 2.0 across all their cars, which is equipped in this Camry. I'm super impressed with this Camry. So it really fits whatever mood you're in. If you just want a comfortable ride, a quiet ride, one that's great with fuel economy, you get that. Just put it into normal or comfort mode and away you go. But if you want a more spirited drive, you get that. You push the sport button, you throw in manual shifting, and away you go too. It really fits whatever mood you're in. To conclude, let's talk about the good and the bad to this Toyota Camry. Starting with the good. It has gorgeous sports sedan looks on the exterior. Inside is very comfortable and great looking. The Camry has a powerful engine providing quick acceleration. There's a lot of tech including Apple CarPlay and Android Auto finally. There's solid steering feel and there's many trims to choose from. As for the bad, there are a few. The headroom in the rear seats is lacking. There is no USB ports or outlet in the rear. Manual shifting has its own quirks. There's no ventilated front seats, and road noise is a little loud at high speeds. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you check out some of my other videos that you see here. Thank you. Bye-bye.